to our lunch and learn, going green, one change at a time. My name is Angel Martinez, and I'm with Arrow Supply. And I just want to introduce you to the rest of our staff here. My partner, Jim Young.
No,
that's his dad over there, Bill Young. And my wife, Nancy Martinez, over there. Welcome. We'd like to start off by thanking our friends over at VP for helping us to get this together. George Widener and Serena Thomas. Thank you very much. Just to give a little background about Emerald Supply. Emerald Supply has serviced many different types of companies over the years, municipalities, some of the larger companies such as ExxonMobil, BP overseas, and also Pepsi-Cola, Coca-Cola as an outsourced purchasing. To us, purchasing is a process. It's not about the item. It's more of the services that we provide. A typical order for Emerald Supply is 50 line items from 30 different manufacturers. So we coordinate and do all the logistics for that. In our ventures into different arenas, we ran into Green Stuff back in the early 90s when it was actually owned by the Berryman Company. And one of the things that we learned very early in our careers was that on the international market, when people find a product that they like, they seem to stick with it because in some of the rural areas that they live in, it's very difficult to get certain products. And Green Stuff is one of the products that once some of the clients grabbed a hold of, they've stayed there. So we followed the product until now to the point where we have the Berryman Company sold the product to a company called D2L, and that's the relationship that we're seeing here today between Emerald Supply and D2L. So with that, I'm going to turn this over to Eric Fortmeyer from D2L Products, and help me to give him a warm welcome. Thank you very much.
well, thanks, y'all. I'll let you finish eating for the time being, and I'll just tell you a little background stuff, and then we'll get to doing some demonstrations. But don't forget, there is some cake back in the corner there, too, so please eat it or else I'll be eating it. So I won't like that. But we are classic small business. We took over from the Berryman Company, which is a company down in Texas, down in Fort Worth, Texas. They had developed this product called Green Stuff back in the mid-'90s. And the idea was they kind of discovered it by mistake, to be honest with you. The guy who invented it was an Irishman, so they colored it green. That's why it's Green Stuff to this day. But they basically invented it for the purposes of a lot of industries were finding it's very hard to use speedy dry when you're cleaning up stuff. There are certain situations where you're in a plant situation, you don't want to be throwing rocks down on the floor where there's some pretty high-tech machinery around there. So they wanted a product that could basically do absorbing of basic liquids, basic hydrocarbons, and a couple exotic chemicals as well. And Berryman Company developed Green Stuff for that purposes. They noticed along the way that it's incredibly efficient, doesn't take up much space at all, absorbs an awful lot, and it's extremely versatile. And they started promoting it as an environmentally friendly product in Texas in the 1990s. And as you might imagine, nobody cared. It just was not an issue to the Texans down there. They got lots of land down there, infinite amounts of landfill. You could dump a pile of toxic waste in the Texas wastelands out there. No one would notice for 40 years out there. So no one cared for the most part. But the people who did care were mostly in the refinery business down on the Texas Gulf Coast, up in Louisiana. They really liked it a lot for a while, and that's where most of the business stayed with Berryman for them down in Texas and Louisiana for a while. And then eventually what happened was Berryman went through some problems. They reorganized, and they were basically going to start getting back to their core products, and they were ditching a few products, and they decided to let Green Stuff go. And my business partner and I picked up on it right away, because we had some pretty good experiences with it, to say the least. And we now completely control the product. We've tweaked it a little bit, made it a little bit better, so if anybody has ever used Green Stuff before, it's a little bit better than it was back then. And it's still a pretty remarkable product. And as it turns out, right as we were picking the product up, this green thing, everything now has to be environmentally friendly out there. And now we have to do more with less and save the planet, all that kind of stuff, which is great. It's phenomenal. But it's challenging to do.